You walk past that old CB2 chair again. It's rusted, out of place, forgotten. But what if that chair could hold blooming flowers instead of dust? What if your unused patio set became the heart of your tiny garden? Today, you're going to see how simple pieces can become garden masterpieces. Not through expensive materials, but through vision, creativity, and soul. Hey, welcome to Archon Aesthetic Studio, where we turn overlooked objects into unforgettable spaces. In this video, we're bringing you 25 brilliant ways to turn old CB2 furniture into stunning garden DIYs, especially for tiny yards and small patios. There are timestamps below so you can skip to your favorite idea. If anything's unclear or you want to share your creation, drop a comment below. I always reply. And if you enjoy content like this, get creative with what you have. And if you're willing, support this channel by liking or subscribing. Maybe I'm just another video in your feed, but behind this, there's a real person, a real family. This content, it's made from heart. Every like, every comment, every subscribe, it helps keep the dream alive. You're not just helping a channel, you're helping a small family thrive. Thanks for being here. Thanks for seeing us. One CB2 chair turned into garden trellis or fence accent. Once forgotten, now reborn. These CB2 chairs tell stories not through words, but through blooms and sunlight. In one quiet Californian corner, a light teal chair rises from the earth, now a sculpture of living red bougainvillea. With each vine that winds through its frame, the chair becomes less of a seat and more of a celebration. The minimal shape and airy structure give climbing plants a modern stage to dance upon. It's simple. Place a trellis through the frame, let nature perform the rest. Further down a daisy-lined path, a weathered white chair back stands tall, no longer as furniture, but as a rustic fence accent in a garden that sings in pinks and whites. The carved CB2 mark remains like a quiet nod to its past. Here, the chair becomes memory, one that holds up flowers instead of people. You don't need much. Just remove the legs and anchor it in soft gravel or moss. The structure does the storytelling. In another shaded backyard, a black metal chair finds purpose in silence. Against a wooden fence, it holds a climbing clematis like a protective frame. Vines curl gently around its minimalist grid, transforming cold metal into something alive. This setup thrives in small spaces, ideal for renters or those with only a strip of soil. The chair doesn't demand attention. It gives it to the plant. These transformations are not just clever, they're comforting. They prove that beauty is often waiting in the things we leave behind. All it takes is a shift in how we see them, and a little sunlight. Two, Repurposed CB2 coffee table as rustic garden border. In a quiet corner of the garden, where peace takes root and time slows down, old CB2 furniture finds new purpose, transformed not by machines, but by imagination and a love for the earth. One by one, wooden legs once supporting coffee tables now rise from a bed of raked white gravel, becoming vertical guardians of a Zen retreat. Bonsai trees flourish in the stillness, their aged roots grounded in calm, while the clean geometry of reclaimed wood brings order to nature's quiet poetry. This is not just landscaping, it's meditation carved in wood and stone. Not far from this quietude, in a cozy backyard, pieces of CB2 furniture come to life again, this time as the spirited edge of a thriving vegetable patch. Staggered planks form a rhythmic pattern, cradling rows of carrots, crisp lettuce, and tomatoes heavy with promise. The grain of the aged would catches morning dew like poetry on parchment. This is the beauty of usefulness reimagined, sustainable, practical, and alive. And then, under the gentle glow of the golden hour, a former coffee table is reborn not as a surface, but as a frame, for herbs and marigolds, for lavender that hums with bees. The planks are no longer flat and forgotten, but lifted by life, cradling color and scent and stories yet to grow. These ideas aren't just DIY, they're invitations to create with intention, to work with what you have, and to let your garden not only grow, but mean something. Your next project may already be waiting on your porch, disguised as an old table, asking only for a second chance. Three, tiny garden lounge from Upcycled CB2 Patio set. In small spaces, even the simplest pieces can tell a story, especially when they're given a new purpose under the sun. Take this upcycled CB2 patio set, now reborn as a charming garden lounge. With just a coat of sage green, these once modern metal chairs blend into a soft, botanical corner filled with ferns and blooming petunias. String lights hang like whispers above, inviting evenings of quiet tea and gentle conversation. This is not just a makeover, but a moment reclaimed, proof that comfort doesn't need square footage, only intention. On another terrace, a previously overlooked CB2 set is surrounded by joyfully chaotic bursts of zinnias and hydrangeas. Floral throw pillows echo the blooms around them, while warm sun dances on wood decking. It feels casual yet curated, where every flower pot doubles as a statement. This is how forgotten furniture becomes a frame for beauty, especially when matched with a gardener's heart. And tucked between walls of citrus and geraniums, a narrow side yard finds new life. Two CB2 chairs, now bright and cheerful, create a sunny nook for lemonade breaks and slow afternoons. A bamboo screen grants privacy while the plants do the rest, transforming vertical limits into lush possibilities. These are not just furniture flips, they're invitations to rest, to reclaim, and to imagine again. A reminder that with a little care and creativity, small spaces can bloom in big ways. Four, DIY vertical herb wall using CB2 shelves. In small spaces, creativity thrives, and even the most unlikely furniture can find new purpose. With a little vision and a touch of care, old CB2 shelves become the backbone of a thriving vertical herb garden, full of texture, scent, and life. One approach keeps things simple yet stunning, repurposing wire racks to hold rows of terracotta pots, each brimming with herbs and edible flowers. The way calendula spills over the edge, or how sage stretches toward the sun, transforms a plain wall into a living mosaic. This setup works beautifully in narrow patios or unused corners, where light meets greenery in quiet harmony. For those with a bit more structure, an old CB2 shelving unit, metal framing and wood slats, can be upcycled into a freestanding herb wall. Set against a bamboo fence and paired with climbers like jasmine or nasturtium, the herbs grow in soft rhythm with nature. The wood, now weathered by sun and rain, lends a rustic warmth that feels right at home in any garden nook. Or maybe it's color you crave. Bright ceramic pots filled with basil, rosemary, and thyme rest neatly on painted CB2 ledges mounted against a white brick wall. Each row sings with summer, aromas filling the air, the sun bouncing playfully off glossy green leaves. The beauty here is not just in how it looks, but how it feels. Alive, accessible, yours. This is the essence of vertical gardening, reclaiming space, reimagining furniture, and inviting life to grow up the walls. You don't need a sprawling backyard, just a bit of light, some old shelves, and the will to make something beautiful where there was once nothing at all. Five, elegant garden edging with CB2 metal frames or racks. In the soft golden light of late afternoon, an unlikely design story begins, one crafted not from new purchases, but from the forgotten frames of CB2 furniture. What once might have supported a mattress, a tabletop, or a retail display now outlines beds of lavender, rosemary, and ornamental grass. With a gentle echo of modern sculpture, these repurposed metal shapes bring structure to the softness of a thriving garden. The beauty of this transformation lies in contrast, raw industrial lines paired with the delicate sway of wildflowers. A minimalist CB2 table frame becomes a modular boundary for neat rows of herbs. Black steel bed rails, stripped of their original function, now gracefully arc around playful bursts of tulips and pansies, acting as elegant borders that guide your gaze without obstructing nature's charm. In another corner, weathered clothing racks are anchored into the soil, forming crisp separations between mossy paths and lilac-covered patches. It's not just about aesthetics. This is form meeting function, upcycled with purpose. The clear gravel trail, the organized beds, the soft curve of each fence, all of it achieved without plastic or fuss. Just reused metal, soil, and intentionality. This idea is a quiet revolution. It shows us that garden design doesn't always need grand budgets or new materials. Sometimes, a garden's best accessory is already in the garage, waiting to be noticed. So next time you're tempted to toss that unused frame, pause, walk into your garden, and imagine the possibilities of steel meeting soil. Six, trash to treasure. CB2 mirror frames as Seascape garden decor. In the quiet corners of forgotten spaces, beauty waits to be awakened. And sometimes, all it takes is an old frame, a bit of rope, and a handful of seashells to transform a plain backyard into a soulful escape. Imagine this, once part of a CB2 mirror, these wooden frames now stand proudly among bamboo and ornamental grasses. Their reflective past is gone, but in its place is something more evocative, a window not into your reflection, but into the spirit of a seaside memory. Strung with maritime rope and weathered shells, they sway gently in the wind, inviting you to pause, breathe, and let your thoughts drift like the tide. Repurposing mirror frames this way is more than just DIY. It's poetry made from the overlooked. Whether hung against a fence or nestled among succulents, these frames become portals of calm, evoking the hush of waves and the soft crunch of sand beneath your feet. Add coral, driftwood, or even netting for texture and story, each element a subtle whisper of distant shores. And the magic? It doesn't require a vast yard. These projects thrive in the small corners, a side path, a fence wall, or the end of a garden bed. Spaces often overlooked, yet full of potential. Let the frames you no longer need become frames for something far more timeless. The feeling of stillness, of place, of pause. In a world that moves too fast, these little garden moments, shaped by your own hands, offer a much-needed breath. A gentle reminder that even the discarded can become something deeply meaningful. Seven, rustic pergola using disassembled CB2 wooden panels. In this sun-drenched corner of the garden, an old CB2 shelving system, once part of a sleek indoor collection, finds a second breath, transformed into a handcrafted pergola. The grain of the aged panels whispers its story with every knot and shadow, now reassembled above lavender bushes and dancing daisies. The structure may be simple, but its spirit is rich. Here, the beams frame a moment of quiet, a sanctuary wrapped in the scent of herbs and the laughter of blossoms. Hanging baskets spill over with color, their woven cradles suspended from the repurposed slats. Beneath, a stone path guides footsteps like a soft melody, flanked by wildflowers in bloom and privacy screens made of slender bamboo. One doesn't need a vast garden to create such poetry. In a modest space, this kind of DIY invites you to reimagine not only the furniture but your connection to it. Start with what you have. A few retired CB2 planks, once hidden in storage, become the bones of something both functional and poetic. Let creeping vines do their part, winding slowly over the frame, adding age and romance with every season. In another scene, the pergola shelters a table set beneath a canopy of grapevines, nature's ceiling fan rustling with fruit and breeze. Lanterns hang gently like punctuation in a well-loved poem. The sun dips low, painting everything in gold, wood, leaf, and laughter, and the garden becomes not just a space, but a memory in motion. If your yard is small, don't hesitate. A single wall-mounted beam and a few upright posts can birth your version of this haven. Let vines climb. Let light pass through. Let silence settle like a friend. There's no rush in this kind of crafting. Only a rhythm, soft and patient, that guides hands towards something lasting. So the next time you look at an old wooden shelf or a stack of forgotten panels, see them not as furniture past its time, but as chapters waiting to be written into the story of your garden. 8. Japanese garden path using CB2 concrete lamp bases. In a garden where time seems to move more slowly, where even the wind treads softly, old CB2 concrete lamp bases have been given a second life. Not as sources of light, but as anchors of peace. The circular forms once meant to hold electricity are now resting harmoniously beneath blossoming cherry trees, transformed into stepping stones in a meditative Zen layout. Each one placed deliberately, breathing in rhythm with nature's own pace. Moss curls gently around the edges, unbothered by its new companions. Red maple leaves have fallen like whispers, scattered across the stones with no hurry, no weight, just presence. Here, the materials are honest. Cold concrete meets soft earth. The neutrality of gray grounds the path, while the vibrant pinks above offer poetry in bloom. With every step, a moment. With every pause, clarity. This repurposing of CB2 lamp bases isn't just practical, it's profoundly poetic. You don't need a sprawling landscape to recreate this. A quiet corner, a few upcycled bases, perhaps some bonsai or ornamental grass, and your own intention is enough. What was once industrial is now sacred. In another vignette, geometric cement bases are arranged along a winding trail, drawing the eye gently toward a bamboo water fountain. Mini lanterns flicker quietly at dusk, cradled by beds of iris and azalea. This is not a path of travel, but of arrival, to stillness, to balance. If you walk this way in the morning, with dew still fresh on the petals, you'll hear the garden hum softly beneath your feet. No filters, no embellishments, just truth in the tones of stone, the curve of a leaf, and the whisper of water. And then there's a more formal arrangement. Cylindrical bases rising like minimalist sculptures from shallow pools, under a canopy of cherry blossoms in full bloom. It's a dance of symmetry and softness, concrete and nature leaning into one another. This isn't just repurposing. It's a reimagining of space and soul. So if you happen to have discarded lamp bases, don't hide them away. Let them rise again, not as fixtures, but as quiet companions along your garden's journey. Here, function meets contemplation. Here, beauty is reborn, under your very own feet. Nine, CB2 light fixture as hanging flower baskets for backyard. In a quiet backyard corner, a once bright chandelier now holds something even more radiant, nature itself. Suspended gently above a reclaimed wooden table, the frame, stripped of its bulbs, cradles a lush garden of succulents, stringer pearls, and cheerful calancho. Sunlight dances along the wrought iron curves, as shadows flicker playfully across terracotta pots of mint and oregano below. It no longer glows by filament, but by form, by texture, by blooming presence. The upcycled piece reminds us, illumination doesn't have to come from electricity. Sometimes, it comes from growth. Further along a patio framed in bamboo, another transformation awaits. A cage-style CB2 pendant fixture, once modern and minimal, now spills with the electric purple of lobelia, softened by the sweet drape of potato vine leaves. Suspended with thick rope, the rusted iron forms a perfect cradle for wild beauty. The contrast is both rustic and refined. It gently sways with the breeze, like a lantern lit with lavender and green. Beneath it, there's no need for candles. The vibrancy of living color is enough to warm the space. And above a wooden pergola, a triumvirate of spherical CB2 light fixtures has become the sky's jewelry. Bursting with petunias in magenta and sunshine yellow, accented by trailing ivy, each hanging basket radiates personality. The structure that once held sterile bulbs now supports a garden in the air. The pergola becomes more than a frame. It's a stage for floral celebration. And when the wind moves just right, the plants sway as if they're dancing, applauding their own rebirth. These pieces are more than decor. They're declarations. That what was old can be wondrous. That what was functional can become soulful. And that gardens, especially those crafted in small spaces, thrive not just in soil, but in spirit. So, if you have a retired fixture tucked away in a garage or storage, perhaps it's not a relic. Perhaps it's the beginning of a hanging garden, a moment of still beauty suspended in motion. After all, the most beautiful light is the kind that grows. Upcycled CB2 side table into bamboo-style water feature. There's something almost sacred in the soft sound of water, a trickle, a cascade, a rhythmic whisper that draws us inward. What if serenity could be sculpted, not bought? And what if an old CB2 side table, once gathering dust in a forgotten corner, became the altar of your personal garden sanctuary? In the first vision, we find a quiet, contemplative corner. A minimalist metal table, once modern and bare, now cradles a pale ceramic bowl filled with polished black river stones. At its heart, a bamboo spout gently pours water in a steady flow, not too loud, not too faint. Around it, camellia blossoms lean in, blushing pink and vivid against the blonde wood decking. The fountain doesn't steal attention, it shares peace. This is the magic of contrast, metal softened by nature, geometry kissed by flowers. Elsewhere, under the shade of a courtyard tree, a once-forgotten tabletop rises anew, repurposed into a tiered cascade of planters. Water weaves through each bamboo cup, trailing through mint and moss, creating a living sculpture that waters itself. There is rhythm here, not just in the motion, but in the way the greenery follows gravity. For small spaces, this is not just smart, it's poetic. Let your herbs live vertically, and let the water carry your breath away. In a cozy backyard nook, golden hour glows across a handmade water altar. A shallow bowl catches the smooth descent of water across stacked stones. A bamboo shoot leans forward with quiet intent, spilling life into stillness. Ferns gather at its feet, like guardians. This installation, framed by an upcycled wooden side table, is more than decor. It's a meditation you can walk by every day. And here lies the heart of this idea. You don't need a vast garden, nor a big budget. Just vision. A CB2 table leg becomes the pillar of a water feature. A ceramic dish becomes the cradle of calm. Bamboo, humble and hollow, becomes a voice that speaks only in droplets. These DIYs are not just about transformation, they're about return. A return to slowness, to stillness, to intention. So as you repurpose, reshape, and replant, remember, a table isn't just a table. It's a stage for sound, for scent, for light, for life. Let the furniture you once sat beside now invite you to sit within, in your own garden of quiet wonder. 11. Cutest succulent planter using CB2 light holders. In the quiet corners of a home, where discarded objects once gathered dust, something beautiful can bloom again. The latest transformation from the 25 brilliant ways to turn old CB2 furniture into stunning garden DIYs for small spaces takes what's often overlooked, simple CB2 light holders, and breathes into them a second life, vibrant and green. Let's begin with the vertical succulent garden, where 6 CB2 ceramic tea light cups sit cradled on a moss-lined wooden frame. Each vessel, no larger than a handful, holds a miniature world of succulents, rosettes of echeveria, the playful trailing strands of string of pearls, and the soft curves of graptopetalum. Mounted neatly against a garden wall, this tiny sanctuary invites stillness. It's the kind of creation that requires little space. Only a sunny wall and the gentle rhythm of a watering can once a week. And suddenly, a forgotten fence becomes a living painting, one that changes with the seasons and sunlight. Shift now to the quiet light of a windowsill. There, 3 metallic CB2 candle holders gleam with an aged patina, their surfaces speckled like old mirrors. In them grow tough, spiky Haworthia and thick-leaved succulents, their forms as sculptural as they are resilient. The contrast between the industrial gleam of the pots and the organic geometry of the plants creates a balance that feels both earthy and elegant, perfect for small urban homes where a slice of nature is all one needs to soften the hard edges of city living. Then there's the playful touch, a wooden tray on a patio table, holding 6 glass cups filled with layers of brightly colored sand. Crimson, azure, sunshine yellow. These layers are not just decorative, but symbolic, evoking the strata of a desert landscape or the bands of a distant planet. Inside each sits a small succulent, nestled among pebbles, reaching slowly toward the sun. This display is joy in a frame, vibrant, tactile, and easy to recreate. Children can help layer the sands. Friends can be gifted with one of their own. It's DIY that connects people through simple acts of creation. What ties these 3 ideas together isn't just the clever reuse of CB2 items. It's the mood they set. They whisper of care and creativity, of taking the time to notice beauty in simplicity. And they offer something rare in today's fast-turning world. A way to slow down, get your hands in the soil, and quietly reshape your space with meaning. So if you have old holders tucked away in a drawer, don't throw them out. Let them hold life. Let them hold light, not from a flame, but from the way leaves catch the sun. Farmhouse garden entry arch from CB2 bed frame parts. There are garden gates, and then there are poetic invitations, ones crafted not of grand architecture, but of quiet memory and imagination. In this enchanting idea, an old CB2 bed frame is given a second life not as a resting place, but as a beginning. With its graceful curves and iron bones reshaped into a rustic garden arch, it now greets every passerby with a whisper, "You're entering somewhere special." The transformation is disarmingly simple, yet undeniably captivating. In the first garden, the frame's vintage patina dances against the backdrop of tall foxgloves and blooming hollyhocks. The path beneath, lined with stepping stones and mulch, leads through rows of greenery, each step a moment suspended between nature and nostalgia. Under an overcast sky, the scene doesn't need the sun to shine. it glows with charm all its own. Further on, we discover another iteration. The headboard and footboard, now standing tall as an arched gateway in a tidy vegetable plot. Grapevines coil lovingly around the repurposed wood, while lanterns dangle like sleepy fireflies waiting for dusk. This garden, kissed by golden hour light, feels as if it were lifted from the pages of a countryside dream. Terracotta pots brim with herbs and good intentions. It's humble, yet deeply soulful. And then, the most romantic of all, roses in full bloom wrap around the frame in a delicate riot of whites and pinks. The gravel path winds between dancing daisies, the scent of morning dew still fresh in the air. This isn't just a DIY, it's a love letter to the past, and a reminder that every object, even a discarded bed, holds the potential to frame beauty once more. For those seeking to try this at home, remember, the strength of these arches lies not just in their structure, but in the personal story they carry. Look for pieces with curves, with iron, with memory. Use rope or vine to soften their form. Let nature do the decorating. Because in gardens, as in life, it's often the old things, reimagined, that make the space truly magical. (13) Landscape edging idea from recycled CB2 curtain rods. Sometimes, transformation doesn't begin with something grand. It starts quietly, in the unnoticed corners of your home, where CB2 curtain rods, once framing windows, now take on new purpose beneath the sky. In the first scene, these forgotten rods are reborn as clean, modern edging, gently curving along a raised garden bed where delicate pansies and vibrant parsley flourish. Their structure brings balance to the softness of soil and bloom, holding everything with a quiet strength. You'll notice how easy this is to replicate. A wooden box, a handful of screws, and a few copper-finished rods become a striking, functional design. Elsewhere, under golden light, those same rods have been bent with gentle precision into decorative loops, tracing the edge of a meandering gravel path. The lavender hums with color, the ornamental grasses sway in rhythm with the breeze, and the garden suddenly feels more intentional, more human. The curved lines break the monotony, guiding your eye and your footsteps through this oasis of calm. If you've ever doubted the elegance of reuse, let this soft bronze patina assure you otherwise. And finally, for those who love clean lines, a simpler approach. Matte black rods, straight and secure, separate a garden bed bursting with dahlias from the neatly trimmed lawn beyond. The minimalist edge they create frames nature like a painting, inviting you to pause and admire the detail, every petal, every blade of grass, every fine grain of soil. What these ideas whisper to us is this: you don't need to buy more to build beauty. You only need to look at what you already have, with kinder eyes. So, the next time you're about to toss out an old rod, a base, or a frame, pause. That same object might hold your next garden dream in disguise. (14) CB2 bookcase transformed into tiny patio vertical garden. In a quiet backyard corner, where space is precious and walls hold stories, an old CB2 bookcase breathes again. Not with books or decor, but with life. Each shelf now carries something deeper than storage. It cradles a living rhythm of leaves and color, a vertical celebration of growth in its gentlest form. One setup is bright and playful, a cascading stack of herbs like mint, basil, and thyme, each spilling over in colorful pots. Garden lights dangle gently along the frame, waiting for evening to fall and illuminate the green silhouettes that sway with the breeze. The structure itself stands firm and narrow, perfectly suited for the smallest patios, proving that abundance needs only a little room and a lot of heart. Elsewhere, a soft white bookcase stands humbly against a wooden fence. It's been repainted with care, and each shelf has become a stage for vintage flower pots. Some hand-painted, some chipped with charm. Marigolds bloom boldly, begonias blush in pinks, and hardy little succulents nestle in the gaps. The whole piece glows with the warmth of memory, like a floral photo album of colors and texture. It's not just a garden, it's a feeling. And in a sunlit patio paved with intention, another version of this rebirth rises. A sturdy, industrial frame now softened by nature's wild hand. Trailing ivy weaves through the edges, strawberries dangle like rubies, and tomatoes peek shyly from their green canopies. Nasturtiums burst in orange delight, flowing with joyful disregard for order. This garden isn't merely functional, it's expressive, poetic, alive. Each transformation whispers a truth. We don't always need to buy new things to build something beautiful. Sometimes, what we need is already with us, waiting to be reimagined, repurposed, and rooted. So let your creativity climb upward. Let your small space become a sanctuary of breath, bloom, and balance. The vertical garden is more than a solution. It's a quiet revolution, a vertical love letter to the earth, written one shelf at a time. (15) DIY CB2 tray table repurposed as garden seedling station. In the soft hush of a patio morning, an old CB2 tray table finds new meaning. What once served breakfast now serves life itself, transformed gently into a nurturing cradle for seedlings. Its surface, no longer polished for display, is dusted with soil and hope. Tiny biodegradable pots sit in careful rows, each one holding the silent miracle of emergence. A sprig of kale here, the tender curl of lettuce there, a marigold just beginning to stretch toward the light. This quiet station is not extravagant. It's simple, intentional, and beautifully alive. Elsewhere, a once metallic table has been painted a sage green that harmonizes with the herbs it now holds. Basil, dill, and chives reaching upward from their terracotta pots, brushing against sunbeams like they know something we don't. Next to them, a pair of soft-used gloves and a watering can wait with patience, ready to serve in this tiny ritual of growth. Against the backdrop of a bamboo fence, even the rust in the table's legs feels like a reminder. Aging isn't the end of usefulness, it's just a different chapter. And then there's the balcony version, a tray once meant for cocktails now standing tall on upcycled crate legs. Topped with a transparent cover, it becomes a makeshift greenhouse, capturing warmth and moisture for sprouting tomatoes and zinnias. Dew clings to the inner surface, while below, the green of life glows. Nearby sit trays of soil mix and spritzed leaves, signs of care and patience, the quiet hands of someone who believes in beginnings. This is what gardening in small spaces can look like: personal, practical, poetic. Repurposing is not just sustainable, it's soulful. A CB2 tray table, when touched by creativity and care, becomes more than furniture. It becomes a companion in your journey to grow, nourish, and reconnect. It reminds us that life doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for presence. So if you have an old table waiting in storage or on the verge of discard, perhaps it's not finished yet. Perhaps, like a seed, it's only waiting to be planted in the right moment. And maybe, just maybe, that moment is now. If this video meant something to you, please know that subscribing means the world to me. You're not just supporting content, you're supporting a dream that keeps my family going. Thank you, truly. I'd also love to hear from you. What did you enjoy the most? Is there anything I could do better to keep inspiring or simply entertaining you? Your feedback helps this channel grow with heart and purpose. Let me know in the comments. I read every one.